so yes, I can see that you're heading up to him, and we can move on strike rank 1.
Mhm.
And the first thing that you will do, therefore, on phase 2 is to spend. You're going to have to exert reasonable endurance to fight the current,
Yeah.
and negotiate the uneven, the contradictory, movement of the waters. Um,
Mhm.
and so that will take all of your super swimming, which I believe is going to be 25 hexes. So that's 5 endurance to make a full move to get up to where you want to go.
Super swimming, 15
Oh,
hexes, and
15.
then 1 endurance per 5 hex.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
only
what I
3
have on the
hexes.
sheet.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what I'm envisioning, of course, is that he's still some distance away. So you
Yeah, yeah.
can swim to get to him, um, and you can spend 3 endurance, but you won't really get. You're going to need to get right there in order to communicate.
Yep. Yes.
He is,
Yes.
shall we say, a little bit distracted and not paying attention to this or that thing in the water.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
so you're going to have to get closer. If you want to get closer right away, you can push your strength.
Yes, I will
Okay.
do that.
And so if you have starting strength of 3, I believe, ungrown, then you
Yep.
can roll 3 dice and spend that much more endurance for um, for 15 more hexes, which is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I roll 3, 4, and 3. That's 10.
Okay, so you have spent 13 endurance, and
Yep.
you through therefore using using every ounce of your strength and pushing yourself to the limit, you're able to swim heroically through all this crazy shit, and
Yep.
get close up to your grandfather.
Dodging mermaids.
Whatever they are, yeah. And the thing I
Yeah.
also want to say is that don't forget that speaking is an untimed action.
Yeah.
So, and also once you get close up to him, remember that the effect he has. So instantly you now have minor telepathy all by yourself.
Okay.
Right. Now you
I'm
had
gonna try
taken
to
some
call him
you had
by his
taken some
name,
damage
but
to your intelligence last time, and that has
yes.
cleared. That recovers easily. That just recovers
Okay.
1 per
Okay.
recovery, and when you're out of combat, you can just say it comes back in a few
Okay.
seconds. So
Okay.
it may hit you again.
Mhm.
Okay. And so, but he rolls terribly, and his attack does not work for weakening intelligence.
Okay.
So therefore, you are yeah, you are more proficient than he is in that particular sphere of activity. Before it was just a hazard covering an area, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, though, you are in this situation and you are, uh, facing him. What does this look like? His face is still underwater. In fact, he is kind of proceeding along the surface in these powerful sort of swimming strides. And you know that the water will be shallower fairly soon,
Mhm.
as if he stays on course, he's going to swarm right onto Björk.
Mm.
So and as you both know, that's actually pretty close to Gothenburg.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yes.
one thing that I noticed when I looked at the map was that where you placed that headquarters was not very far out to sea.
Mhm.
So um,
No.
so in other words, there's a lot of this is an inhabited area.
Mm.
So the he's not there yet, but you can see it in your mind that he's getting closer. So is there anything you want to say? This is still phase 2.
I want I want to say, Rune, this is Johannes.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Just
Um,
deliberately trying to get some hooks into the names and see
right.
if there's any recognition
Yes.
at all.
Actually, that's a good point. So, are you intending to have a particular emotional content to this? Are you? It sounds like you are. Like you're trying to create a soothing or at least a human communication of some kind.
Yes, I'm concerned because what he's about to do.
Right.
I mean, walking around down here is one thing, but
right. He's got 3 core of telepathy that is affecting you. And this is more or less involuntary. I mean, he's not really controlling it with 3. Oh, good. It's not just send a single thought. Read or send surface thoughts. This is you. You are able to do this. This is usable for others. So, so the point is that you read or send surface thoughts, frequent psychological situations, recent presence attacks. So that's what you can get from him. And so that's actually a pretty useful thing to be able to perceive. That his consciousness is often irrational. He's not well placed in time. He, is not necessarily always aware of how he relates to the surface world and things like that. So that's one thing, is to get that impression from him. The other thing is that he it's very straightforward. He has basically his contact with what you know as the great dreamer has provoked or woken or disturbed the great dreamer. And so the unguessable stab of the great dreamer's heightened awareness of waking, coming into wakefulness, at least even a little bit. The psychic stab of that has basically driven your grandfather mad.
Okay.
I'm not saying that his mind is broken, that he is now, psychotic. I'm saying that he cannot control what he is doing. This is just a lashing out, a release, a channeling, these forms that are just leaping through. Every one of these is a thought. Every one of these entities that is just zooming out is a thought of the great dreamers, and it just like blasts through your grandfather's mind, and it has to manifest physically to get out of there. So he is effectively channeling or spasming in the grip of this unguessable cognition. Deep, deep, deep in the ocean. Deep, perhaps in along other vectors of reality as well.
Then my phone rings.
And the cool thing about it, in comics, this takes no time either. It's just word balloons. What do you say?
I think I start just before you even say hi or hello, or I just something strange is happening.
Oh shit!
That's my. You have also heard about Carl's body.
Oh, the different problem.
Different problem?
Yes.
I get to get a chill down my spine.
No, not two. I don't want to.
I have a bit of a family reunion here, and I think it's not going to end well for, large parts of Gothenburg.
All right. I will. I tell me. I will find you, and I will try to come to you to help.
Yeah.
You'll
bring
need
your
a little
swimming
direction.
suit.
Yeah.
I'm off the coast outside of Jörke, west. I probably have a other good idea how far out, but
yeah. All right. Now it comes. Yeah. Okay. So I kind of dash from where I'm in, probably move through walls and stuff.
Right.
With
yeah.
my.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I kind of like that. Yeah. The instant change, you don't even have to think about it. The suit's on.
Oh.
Yeah. It probably was forming on you during the call. Right.
Exactly. It's like almost like psychedelically painted on me, and so. But now I'm not like super fast, and I'm not. I'm not.
You're actually a
flying.
pretty good flyer, and I'm going to tell
I
you a
think
little bit about the timing. We typically don't worry about velocity in the larger sense in this game. If we needed to calculate a velocity for Cosmonaut at his top speed in the moment, like right there from from block to block through the city, then it actually hits, if you can believe it, 96 kilometers per hour. So you are basically a car, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
there are two things in your favor. One, this is not a combat situation. We are not trying to match your speed with a target or an opponent or something like that. So that doesn't really apply. What really matters is whether you have the kind of flight that allows you to be there effectively as an action. And the answer is you don't.
Okay.
So therefore, we know more or less how fast you are traveling. You can travel faster if you push it, but that's still not regional flight, and you're not going to be able to do that. Now, there is a trick. You can push for more power points. And if you push for enough power points extra, then you can push yourself into regional flight.
All right. With endurance, or
Yes. So first
right.
you have to hit your maximum speed, which is going to be 4 endurance. And then you're going to push it. And that means you are going to have to push for each of the you will roll 4 dice to do it.
All right. Yep.
And so this is where we see, the thought balloon of I have to push the suit to its limits, right? I have to let loose on reality. I can't just fly. I have to
See what
let
you're
loose
made
on
of,
reality.
you
Let's
old
see
hunk
if I
of
can-
junk.
Let's see if I can do this, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so roll 4 dice and add that to 4 endurance, and that's how many you spend.
Do you want the sum of these, or do you want,
I want the
how
sum.
many?
That's correct. This is the sum.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Endurance
then
comes
you
in
want-
little tiny points.
Yeah. So the sum of my dice roll was pretty crappy, 12,
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And-
though. Yeah.
and my endurance. Mm,
Well, so that means you spend 16 endurance.
4 plus 12.
And if I'm not mistaken, then you have a body of 13, I think. Is that correct?
yeah.
So that means
Yep.
you have 39 endurance.
39.
So you have just dropped 16 out of them.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so the good news is therefore that now Habsmannen is still under, the waves at this point. And the and your move would have been on phase 3 because you go on 1, 3, 5, and 6. So his was on 2, and he spoke to his grandfather and spoke to you all in one phase, and then your response, is instant change and go, right?
Yeah.
And so having pushed, you pushed yourself into regional flight, and therefore arriving on phase 1 of the next turn.
All right.
As opposed to the fact that if you had stuck with your ordinary flight, you would just have to get there long after this whole sequence would have been concluded. So,
Okay.
So you are on your way, right? And in
Yeah.
objective terms, you are getting there really fast. So,
And yeah, because going there by car, and that's not 100 kilometers, would have taken 47 minutes.
correct.
So,
I mean, and,
No.
well, even it without having to do the streets, right? It's like a bird; you just go straight.
Yeah.
But even so, you would have to go across several islands.
Yeah,
and-
it's still
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah,
or
I
something.
agree. It would have been amazing, yes, but not good enough to jump into the fight. So,
No.